Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vassell and Sam Healy.
Well, I have not yet discovered oil in my backyard.
Right here.
That would be a fantastic thing, and I would be very excited about it. And Sam could see me later then. I'll be calling you from my limo.
Yeah, right.
But if you want to discover your own oil, this is the game. Okay, what this is, this is Crude, the oil game. It's a reprint of McMulti, which came out in the 1970s. So that's an older game. So it tells you one thing, well, that the game's old. But it also tells you that the game is a game that's must have stood the test of time, that someone's going back to make it. There are many games that came out in the 70s, which I can promise you will never be reprinted. Of course, there's a lot of games that came out in the 80s. Trump the game. But anyhow, Crude the oil game is a straight-up economic game, and it just uses kind of oil as kind of the veneer on top of that to play the economic game. Let's take a look. There's two boards in the game. One here shows the foreign market, consumer market, domestic marker, and also shows the dice difference track, and then what you do on your phase. That's all here. And then you have the main board here, which is divided into quadrants, and each player has one of these quadrants. So let's say I'm sitting here, then this quadrant would be mine. And this is where I store my gasoline barrels, and this is where I store my oil crude barrels. The first thing a player can do on their turn is they can go to either the foreign market or they can go to the domestic market. When they go there, they can buy or sell oil barrels. If you buy them, you just take the oil barrel off, and the number underneath it is how much it costs for you to buy that. If you are selling them, then you sell them for the price that's there. So you can see the more oil that's there, the price goes down. The less oil, the price goes up, and same with the gasoline. After a player has done that, they are going to look down here at their production area, and they're going to roll some dice. And we're going to get back to these dice in just a second. But before they do anything with these dice, they're going to look at the difference amongst those. And the difference between those two dice is going to be used on this dice reference track. The difference between them is how far this green die will move. When this green die gets to the end of an era, well, then the state of the economy is going to change. Now, the state of the economy is very important. At the beginning of the game, the state of the economy is in recovery. Now, the recovery basically shows how much the consumer demand is going to change. It tells you basically how it will go after this. But most importantly here, and they're kind of small numbers, but it tells you how much everything costs and how much you can sell it for. And then down here, when the economy changes, you will roll a die and see what happens. So you can see here that likely on a 2 through 5, the economy is going to go to expansion. On a 6, though, it will go straight to rapid growth. And on a 1, it will actually go into a downturn. So you're never quite sure how the economy is going to go. But if it goes the way that it would normally rotate, you go from recovery to expansion to rapid growth to prosperity to downturn to recession. And then from recession, you have a 50-50 chance of either going to depression or back into recovery. And so as you're going through these, you are able to, at the end of your turn, one of the things you're going to be able to do is buy more things for your oil yard. Now, you notice that big component drop there at the beginning. There is a ton of plastic in this game, and you'll be able to buy these things. What you're able to buy here is you're able to buy some drilling rigs. And when you buy a drilling rig, you can place that wherever you want in your grid. And so you're trying to place lots of these different drilling rigs wherever you like. You can also buy oil refineries. Oil refineries take up 4 spots. And then you can buy gas stations. Now these are all important because remember when I said you roll the dice at the beginning of your turn? So let's say I roll the die and I put the 6 there and I put the 5 there. Everything in the 6-com is going to work for me, and everything in the 5-com is going to work for me. However, these drilling rigs only work if they hit the exact intersection. When that happens, let's say I had a drilling rig here. Woohoo! I've hit oil. I can take this off and I can pay to put an oil rig there. And now every time this gets hit in the future by either a column or by a row, then I'm going to get 2 barrels of oil. That's a really great thing to get. That's how you get oil. When this gets hit by either column or row, you can, each time it gets hit, you can change 1 barrel of oil into 1 barrel of gasoline. And when your gas stations get hit in either row or column, then you are allowed to sell to the consumer market gasoline. Now, the consumer market's going to change a lot based on the level of the economy. But right now, the consumer market's at 26. So if I sold a barrel of gasoline, I'd sell it for 25 and then 24. And you keep doing this. But every time the economy changes, this will be wiped out and the lowest barrel will be moved a certain number of the red spaces. So it could go all the way up to 80, I suppose. But usually it's going to hover somewhere between $60 and $17 a gallon or for a barrel of oil. And so that's a good way to get a lot of money, is by your gas stations getting hit. You're also allowed to sell and buy these different things here. But one of the interesting things about this game is you're going to put down these 2 dice and take your turn. Then the player to your left will look at the black die, or the die on your left that you've rolled, and he will see if any of his stuff matches that. Now, he can't get any of these because for these you need both dice, and he's only using 1 die. But his gas stations, his oil refineries, and any oil wells he has will produce for him. Then the player on your right will get to look at the other die and anything in that column or row. And so players always, you go on your turn, and you will also go on both turns of the people who are next to you. And that's the way the game is going to progress. The game will continue until one player has $750. Actually, it's $750 million. I'm just calling them dollars. And I guess I should show you the money in the game. It's all different denominations. And one thing I should point out here real quickly, as if you notice maybe the board's warping a little, this is a very early production copy of the game, and so a lot of stuff was cut by hand, so it's not as good as the final product would be. But anyhow, when you get 750, or if you think you have 750, you can sell everything you have to try and get that amount of money. And when that happens, everyone else will sell everything they have, and whoever has the most money is the winner. You can see that Sam has stopped holding the box because it is chock full of plastic.
It's heavy.
Which is, I guess, fitting, since oil is used to make plastic. So this game is promoting the oil business in more ways than one.
Crafty.
Okay, but here's the deal. Why this game, I think, is thematic, because you are taking oil and you are refining it into gas, and then you are selling the gas to the markets, and the gas prices go up, the less gas there is. Okay, that makes sense. We all know that, sadly. I think, though, at the same time, it is a straight-up economic game.
Yeah.
It's a game that, you know, is like Acquire, like many other games where you buy low, sell high.
It does also have a few mechanics in there on the side play board that were held true to real life, as a matter of fact, where you could actually raise the price of the world markets and the foreign markets by hoarding your own oil. And so that was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, now
that was by accident, though. We didn't really understand.
This is not necessarily Sam's style of game.
No.
I said it's about oil, has dice and plastic pieces. It's like it's like Risk.
And halfway through the first game, wait a minute.
No, it really is a straight economic game. Why I said that the theme fits. It's about knowing when to buy and sell, and I think that matters more than rolling the dice.
Yeah.
The placement of your stuff is not nearly as important as you might think it is. The odds, well, I mean,
It could be.
you just spread out.
Yeah,
If
you have
you
to spread out.
spread out, you're fine. There's no, like, well, you know, the 1-4 spot is better than the 3-2. You have the odds of hitting all the things at the same. It's more of a.
I lost you when you said 1.
I mean, on the dice board.
I know what you're talking about, but you lost me.
Okay. Well, anyhow, let's talk about some things that we liked or did not like. I even though the dice rolling was fairly random, I did enjoy one aspect of it quite a bit. I like the fact that when I roll the dice, I went, and then both my neighbors went.
Yeah.
It keeps you involved in the game.
Yeah, it keeps you involved. You only actually have one actual turn where you're not doing anything.
Unless you play a 3-player game.
True. Then you're always playing. Then you're always involved. But the idea of having the people that are on your right and your left take part in your turn. That was cool. That was a good idea.
So that's something I liked. I also liked the fact that I liked how the time regression went. You were an upswing, and then prosperity, and then a downswing, and then depression, a recession, and that it fit. It made sense. It wasn't like you were depression one day, and the next day prosperity, and then back to depression. You can see the signs coming.
Right.
Of things going down. And it might not always. There's always a chance it will go upswing from a recession, but it can always get worse too. And I thought that was a neat thing. I like the idea of when to buy and when to sell, because I'm convinced that's when you sell. I mean, that's how you win. Is by selling stuff, having buildings that are worth something more so than selling oil and gas at the right time.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's how the game was won last time, by just selling off all the assets at the right time. I was the one that won the game, but he's the one that caught it, not me. That's one of the reasons why this kind of game isn't really my cup of tea. I don't. It's not. It's not there. I really.
It's kind of funny because Sam's not a huge fan of these, and I am, and I love the numbers. And I'm sitting around and I'm calculating all the numbers, and so I kill everybody, or actually I come in last place.
Yeah.
But I know the numbers.
Yeah. And I win.
You know what though? Part of it's because I get all excited and I'll take chances that I really shouldn't take. I'll buy high, sell low. Just to show people.
He shouldn't do something, and then let's see what happens.
So, in the long run, I like the game. It is not one I want to play all the time, but there are times where I'm in the mood to play an economic game. And I think that this one is up there with Acquire in that sense. I would say it's as good as Acquire. Heresy. Wow. And I do like the plastic pieces a lot. But I wouldn't need to own both, actually. But Acquire is a stock market game, so there's a difference. Buy low, sell high for stock. This one, you're not buying stock, you're buying barrels, but at the same time, you could argue that it's the same thing because their price fluctuates. And there is a ton of money moving around in this game. You are moving lots of money every turn and counting out 57 and then 36 and then 92. And you're going to find yourself making change all the time, so if you don't like that. So I like this one, but I will give it one oil tower up. I cannot give it more than that because I won't lie and say I want to play it all the time. But it's a well-designed game. I can see that it's a good game. And I know that some people will love it. And I also can tell you that some people will hate it for the same reasons. If number crunching isn't your thing, you won't like it.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else really recommended. Do you like number crunching? Yes. Get it. You don't? Oh, well... You want to play this one?
I can't give this any thumbs up because I really don't enjoy these kinds of games. So, from my opinion of this game it's actually one thumb down because I would rather not play a game like this. However, like Tom said, I can see that this game does have merit. I mean, for crying out loud, it's an old game that somebody picked up and reprinted. Okay, that alone tells us that it has merit. It has legs, so to speak, as we would say.
Munchkin. Okay, but anyway.
That game has legs for other reasons. Mainly its drunkenness, probably. Okay. But anyway, I don't like this game. But I can see its merit. So I'll give it only one thumb down, not two.
You're so generous, sir. You're so generous.
Because I really did not enjoy the game. I'm sorry. I mean, it was okay. I liked watching some of the mechanics work together, but this was boredom in a box for me. I'm sorry, those of you who reprinted it. I think you do have a very pointed market that this is going to reach, and people will pay for the game. I will not be one of them.
And like it.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.
Well, I have not yet discovered oil in my backyard.
You sure you want to start that over? Because you were like, well...
No. Okay.